Laipply podcast.
Be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to, because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders.
He's showing the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia the picture that he put up of Joe Biden. It's just a picture of the auto pen.
Taking questions from reporters. We anticipate both leaders will take questions. We will cover that live as it's coming up. Dor here. Let's talk about just briefly.
You know, there's almost not a day gone by in the last 4.5 years that I haven't had people in public life and everyday Americans from every background express appreciation for the role that we played 4.5 years ago. I'll always believe by God's grace we did our duty on that fateful day. But when it came to Vice President Cheney, when we were here for a funeral not long ago, and he leaned over next to me and just said to me in his usual terse manner, he said, "You did the right thing." And I said, Dick, I'll always cherish that, and I always will. Look, he was a man of principle.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet, and Trump's already giving out Christmas presents. Democrats begged Santa for the Epstein files, and now he's dropping them down the chimney. But it turns out for the Democrats, they're not a gift, they're a grenade. And Schumer just pulled the pin. Now they're scrambling for a backup plan, laying the groundwork for the next hoax.
We got to make sure we get all of the Epstein files, all. They can't around with this. And we are going to be pursuing them relentlessly to get everything. Because I don't trust this administration. I don't trust Bondi. I don't trust Kash Patel. I don't trust the president. And they could screw around with this.
Chuck doesn't trust Trump, but he sure liked Epstein. The creep donated thousands to Chuck in the 90s. Epstein was a Democrat, down to his bones. Huge donor.
He's waiting for Congress to greenlight what he will do or wants to do? Come on. Yeah. So, release the files. Release the files.
What do you make of that, Britain?
Well, she was vice president of the United States for 4 years and part of an administration which had complete control of those files. And we never heard a peep that I can remember from her or from the president, Joe Biden, about doing that. It's only now that the president is in power and Democrats are once again struggling to find something, anything that they can possibly get to try to stop the momentum of this president who has so bedeviled them and who they've made such fools of themselves trying to bring down for all these years. Here we are. Here we go again. Perfect example here.
So let's read it to make sure. To Jeffrey Epstein, and that's the real Jeffrey Epstein, not Jasmine Crockett's Jeffrey Epstein. This is the real Jeffrey Epstein. From Hakeem Jeffries' campaign. Dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars of the New York delegation, sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack. Hakeem is committed to electing a Democrat majority in 2014 and is encouraging his friends to participate in a DCCC fundraising dinner with President Obama and Hakeem Jeffries. It ends with a number for Jeffrey Epstein to call to go to the dinner and, quote, get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better. Here's the evidence. The email speaks for itself. The only stone-cold liar in this debate is Hakeem Jeffries. So, Mr. Minority Leader, take a deep breath, chill out, stop lying, stop with the juvenile name-calling, and own up to the fact that your campaign solicited campaign cash from Jeffrey Epstein.
Was it an error in judgment to text Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing? You know, I take Stacey Plaskett at her word, and Would you have done the same thing? I don't. I also agree with her that Jeffrey Epstein is reprehensible, and that's her word, and I agree with her.
Fox News alert. We have more new images of the Trump shooter. The New York Post just released photos that Thomas Crooks posted online showing the wannabe assassin brandishing a handgun and a bolt-action rifle. He posted these back in 2019 and 2020. The New York Post told us about his violent threats, TDS, they-them pronouns, and muscle mommy fetish. None of this was in the congressional report. Now, 2 congressmen are saying Biden's FBI stonewalled him. Quote, "We were stymied so much by what the feds look at, we couldn't look at anything." And then they said in the final report, they didn't tell the full story. We all know it wasn't done, it wasn't complete, and the reason for that is they can't handle the truth. They don't want people to handle the truth. Details on Crooks are dripping out. We want the full story, and we look forward to hearing more from Trump's FBI.
Should that roof have been secure, period?
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
Doing Mamdani's Mayor in New York. So everything's free now.
Can I get the Mamdani special? 1 free hot dog?
Mamdani? What's the Mamdani?
Free hot dog special. Everything's free now.
No. That'll be $4.68.
No, it's supposed to be free. It's Mamdani's New York now. Everything's free.
According to who?
Well, I'm not going to pay for it. Just get one of these. I'll get this. And I'll get a Kit Kat. Thank you.
Hey, what are you doing?
Everything's free now.
Ain't nothing free, man.
Is this one of those Mamdani grocery stores where everything's free?
No.
No? So I have to pay?
Yes.
New mayor, they told me.
Whatever it is not a government owned.
Oh, it's not okay.
Can I get a free ride to Central Park? No. Where you go?
Whoa. It's free. It's transport.
Wait, the subway's free?
So runs New York City. Come on. Jump over there and get the door for me.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Worries.
Yeah, thank you.
News this morning is new jobs numbers blew away expectations.
Huge.
From the September numbers, so these were delayed because of the government shutdown, more than double, 119,000 new jobs. And then also there's some interesting stuff in the wages numbers there as well that shows wages on the rise. Your thoughts on the jobs numbers?
Okay, so a huge jobs report, and I assume the market is going crazy right now, probably just opened, because what this shows is that the Trump economic policies are actually working. And you've got 119,000 new jobs. Economists thought that we would have about 50,000 new jobs, but that's actually just the headline number. If you look below the surface, I think the numbers are actually better. So number one, wages continue to way outpace inflation. If you go back to the 3 years of the Biden administration, the average American worker actually lost about $3,000 of take-home pay. In the first 10 months of the Trump economy, we've increased take-home pay by about $1,200, adjusting for inflation. So that's a huge, huge thing, and this jobs report confirms that.
All right, here we go. Thursday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Let me say hey to everybody in the chat. JD Joy is on. Robin Aroni is on. General Plowman is on. Jules 21 Hours is on. Mike Griffith is on. Robin Aroni is on. Jeannie Malfeasy is on. Mr. Cool Dude is on. Peg McGroin is on. Guitar Glenn is on. K4 VMS is on. Sun Gun is on. TJT1 is on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Agravane is on. N. Johns 127 is on. Uncle Wally is on. Let me see here. Scrolling down. JGCK is on. Granted 2468 is on. Veronica 18201 is on. Supergirl 21 is on. Big Jim Go Blue is on. Sheila K is on. Richard Perry 49 is on. Jim Brody is on. Salty Gonads is on. KGPCO is on. Let me see here. Scrolling down. Keeper 1376 is on. LA 106 Times is on. Biggie 926 is on. Vovo 960 is on. Conservative Waffle is on. Let me see here. Stuff for Toms is on. Let me grab just a couple more here. Rum Pierre 1 is on. Wilbur's Bud 1 is on. Let me see here. Patriot of the North is on. Kentucky Lady is on. Snag Dog is on. FF 2006 is on. Sun Gun is on. Lita Benita is on. Laura Jean Lynn is on. Let me see here. Let me grab a couple more. Keep scrolling down here. Not ending. That's great. Nate Dad 1 is on. Total G Word is on. Skunk 71 is on. Mojave Jeep JT is on. Let me see here. Daynow 59 is on. Grab me one or two more I can find that are new here. Thunderbolt 7641 is on, and Milwaukee James is on. Love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Just off of the post game, isn't it funny now more and more is coming out about Thomas Crooks? Now, we were told by Christopher Wray that he had basically no digital footprint. The only 20-year-old American that could be described that way, but of course, he had no digital footprint, although it was found out he encrypted accounts overseas. And now we're finding out to the specificity that he had a muscle mommy fetish. So we go from absolutely no specifics, no digital footprint, to now finding out so much about him in his digital history to now know that he had a muscle mommy fetish. I mean, that's the dichotomy between the Biden administration's FBI under Christopher Wray, where there was no digital footprint whatsoever. And now we have found so much about him that we've gotten down to the particulars of his sexual fetishes. And not only that, but him posing with a 9mm right, like this, which for some reason, I can't stand the censorship now. I mean, and I don't mean to digress into this, but I do mean to. But Fox News is showing Thomas Crooks like this with a 9mm in his hand or some sort of pistol. But you know why I couldn't tell it was 9mm or not? Because they blurred it out. Okay, it's, you know what? I mean, first of all, even if a 3-year-old was watching it, who would care? But second of all, why do we need that blurred out? Why is it that when you're on TikTok, you can't say sexual assault, you have to say SA? And and you can't say firearm or gun, you have to say pew pew. But here's the part that bothers me about it is, conservatives participate in that so that they don't lose their accounts on TikTok. Oh, Lord forbid I lose my account on TikTok. So I'm going to bend over and spread them wide. And I'm going to humiliate myself, degrade myself to the place where I say pew pew as a 48-year-old man. I'm not 48, I'm 57, but I'm just saying. You know, I mean, you imagine that? I mean, that's like all the Ben Shapiros of the world. Anything that I have to do to say on YouTube, I'll pimp vaccines, I'll wear a mask, I'll whore the vaccines, I'll get my own family vaccinated just so I can keep my account on YouTube. It's so disgusting to me. And again, I digress. And here's the funniest thing about it. Credit Jesse Waters. And a lot of Jesse Waters tonight. Cut up a lot of clips of Jesse Waters, both pregame and regular show. We're going to launch with one in a second. But off of Jesse Waters, you look at it, and I love the symbolism. When he thought that this was going to be, a present coming down the chimney, it turned out to be a grenade. The Democrats, again, what's so funny is you're never going to fool God. The eyes of the Lord run to and fro. You cannot fool God. For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. Proverbs 5:21. So I'm just like, you're never going to fool him. So you think that that the Epstein files are going to humiliate Donald Trump or expose Donald Trump? That's not going to be the case, because Donald Trump has never given a dime to Jeffrey Epstein, never solicited a dime from Jeffrey Epstein, was never on the Lolita Express, was never on the island. The only people that were involved in soliciting funds from Jeffrey Epstein, getting funds from Jeffrey Epstein, hanging around with Jeffrey Epstein were, I just saw it, a video today of Kevin Spacey, on one of the talking head shows, talking about how he was broke. He was an affiliate of Jeffrey Epstein. So the only thing that's going to happen with these files, and which again illustrates again, that's speaking on behalf of Trump. Now on the other side, it shows the ridiculousness of his response, which he was talked into by the intel agencies of trying to sequester the Epstein files. Again, the only people that are going to get humiliated are the people that have, and again, he was doing this to protect the people who are trying to imprison him. CIA is trying to imprison him. Mossad's trying to imprison him. MI5, MI6, the deep state, the State Department, which controls the CIA, is trying to imprison Trump. So why would you go into an agreement to protect them from the repercussions of the exposure of the Epstein files? Can you explain that to me? Aaron, can you help me?
No.
I mean, why would you? Again, that would be like if someone was hitting you in the balls with a baseball bat and somebody talked you out of taking the bat out of their hands. Why would you, talk you out of taking the bat out of their hands? Why would you do that? You're getting hit in the balls with a baseball bat. Wouldn't it behoove you to remove the bat out of their hands? I mean, then they could still maybe hit you with a fist, but it's certainly better than a bat. So I'll never get it because here's what's happened so far. You ready? There's no order. First of all, you have Crockett's epic humiliation of herself, which she's gone on a speaking tour, walking it back and trying to explain how she said Jeffrey Epstein. It wasn't lying to the American public like the Republicans do. So she humiliated herself by saying that, Lee Zeldin and Mitt Romney and the arm of the RNC and whatever else got money from Jeffrey Epstein. Humiliated herself. There's one grenade that went off. Then, of course, you have the Stacey Plaskett being coached by Jeffrey Epstein, the Michael Cohen hearing. There's another grenade that went off that they thought was going to be a president coming down the chimney. I'm switching to my Christmas shirts coming up right after Thanksgiving, just so you know. So day one, starting on that Monday, we come back for Thanksgiving. Christmas shirts until the end of Christmas, just so you know. And Will's already's got his Grinch slippers on right now, which we'll keep that. Speaking of sequestering, we'll keep that sequestered for the public. But then we have Hakeem Jeffries. Here's the most humiliating part about Hakeem Jeffries. You're like, is that his campaign solicited funds from Jeffrey Epstein? No. Here's the most humiliating part is that we found out that he was called the Brooklyn Barack. I mean, we need to come up. we need to create our own T-shirts here at the TLP and start selling them because I could come up with a great T-shirt called the Brooklyn Barack. I mean, that would be great, wouldn't it? So that exploded in his face. So we got Crockett humiliated, Plaskin humiliated, Hakeem humiliated. Now we find out today, Chucky Schumer received money from Jeffrey Epstein. Hey, you wanted the files released, you got it, baby. Larry Summers yesterday had to resign from Harvard because of him soliciting dating advice from Jeffrey Epstein while he was married. Oh. And he's still married to her, by the way. Oof. She's crazy. Reid Hoffman has been exposed in this context. And of course, we already knew about Billy. Billy Clinton has already been subpoenaed and Hillary's been subpoenaed to testify about their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, which of course they're both trying to avoid those subpoenas, which by the way, Navarro and Bannon went to prison for. Remember that? So anyway, all right, so that's off the pregame. Let's go right into it. So Trump's, and this is the world's most exciting stuff, but to me it is because they're Trump victories. And again, this is what you do. You do not become black-pilled. You point out the good, you point out the bad. Bad response to the Epstein files, great job on the economy. Horrible job on the debt, great job at the border. Terrible job bombing Iran, great job with Venezuela under the Monroe Doctrine. That's what you do. That's what you do. Most of what Trump does is good. And you don't need to be black-pilled because a lot of people are black-pilled. And I listened to one namely account that the guy's completely black-pilled on Trump. Big name, completely black-pilled on Trump. Problem is he never talks about what I'm going to talk about. He doesn't talk about the secure southern border. Never says a word. Because now he has to support his own verbiage and his own narrative. He's black-pilled. Trump didn't do anything. Oh, MAGA's dead. It's all over. Trump didn't do one thing that he promised. How can you say that? How can you say Trump doesn't do one thing that he promised? You can do all the criticism. I do. I certainly criticize Trump. Certainly. I remember I was the jilted lover kicked out of the limousine. Remember?
Yep.
I mean, remember that? I was told I was no longer a supporter of Donald Trump, and many of us. And I've stuck to my promise that I wasn't going to wear any more Trump gear because I've been jilted lover. But I'm still honest about it. I'm like that divorced parent. I'm still going to talk up the other parent, even though she cheated on me. So, I mean, that's what you do. But anyway, so that if you're black-pilled, you end up and you came out and you said it was all over. Now you have to support that narrative. Otherwise, you have to come out and say those vaunted 3 words, right, Aaron?
Yep.
I was wrong.
Yep.
I was wrong. No, you just speak what's true. You don't have to be pro-Israel. You don't have to be anti-Israel. You just tell the truth about Israel. I'm not pro-England. I'm not anti-England. I just tell the truth about England. That's what I do. That's how it is. That's how everybody should be. When you're dealing with humanity, you don't worship a human being. Worshiping a human being means you're black-pilled or you're white-pilled. That's worshiping a human being. That really is, because you're calling one God and one the devil, and you shouldn't do that. Neither one is true. They're a human being, fallible, all of sin and fallen short, Romans 3:23 person. That's how it is. And that's how you deal with human beings. Sounds like I've been pastoring a church for a long time. I have. So that's how you deal with human beings. You're like, you know what? I take the good with the bad. That's how you deal with human beings. And you speak to the good and you speak to the bad. That's what you do. If someone comes up to you and they put on 50 pounds, they come up to you, do I look a little chunkier? No. Yeah, you look 50 freaking pounds heavier. That's what you say. Because you know it's true. You look 50 pounds heavier. That's what you say, right? You don't go, like, this is what the Democrats advocate when you call a man a woman man. Oh, no, you look great. You look thinner than ever. And like their buttons. How many of you got those shirts? You got those shirts that, you put on. Those buttons are freaking straining right here because you're like, holy crap, I don't know. That's what happens to me like every Christmas, depending on how fat I got during the year. Right now I'm thinner, Tom, so all my shirts fit. But like a lot of Christmases, the jacket I wore the year before, I can't freaking button the thing, and it's like riding up on me because I'm so freaking fat. So, I mean, if I went up there and I would expect them to tell me, do I look fatter? Yeah, you look fatter.
Yeah.
You look fatter.
Just keep it unbuttoned.
Just leave it there. We'll just try to cover it up. Or you know what? You'd probably tell me, order a bigger jacket. Just get you a bigger jacket. We can get it here. I can do it quickly, digitally. We'll get it here in a hurry. But anyway, that's how you deal with people. All right, so let's look at now. Trump's doing great on the economy. Now, the messaging, the sad part is the messaging's terrible. You just had the head of Rasmussen, just got it, so credit Alex Jones, had the head of Rasmussen meet with the Trump administration to discuss their public communications because his polling numbers were cratering, sort of cratering. They're cratering in one specific demographic who had a 60% approval rating of Donald Trump when he took office, and that is basically 20 to 40. He had a very high 60% approval rating. Now it's sunk into the low 40s. Why? Because his messaging is not good. What he's doing right now for that age group is astronomically great. I mean, great. He is creating literally thousands of jobs today and tens of thousands tomorrow with the chip factories and everything else. But the messaging is terrible because what they do is they come out and say that we're in a golden age. All of this is credit Alex Jones because I've gotten this all from his interview with the head of Rasmussen. And all they do is come out and say golden age. See, now if you're dealing with a Tom Laipply sort, I am hyper specific, very specific. If you listen to me preach, it's never generalities. It is how you get from here to there. Here's the scriptures. This is what you do. This is how you get there. This is where you stand. There are no generalities. With Trump, it's all generalities. It's all, we're living in a golden age. No, you're going to have to tell people why it's a golden age. Or as Alex Jones said, show a road going to a golden age, and this is how we need to get there. See how that's how you do it. And you're very specific. Trump's learning it, though. And if he learns it, we may win the midterms. Right now, we're not looking good because people in that age bracket, they're not like you and I who are red-pilled. Of course, there's people in there that are red-pilled, but you know what I mean, generally speaking. They're looking at, okay, I can't get a house, ever. Now, when I was their age, I'm trying to think of how old was when I forgot my first house. 27, I think I was when I bought my first house, but, rented before and everything else. But anyway, back then, you were like, I could get a house. I mean, and back then, no matter what, I waited to build a house and built a house from nothing. I hired a company to build a house. So, brand new. But I could have gotten a house for half of that price and any time I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could always get it. Now, the average home is over $400,000. That's average. That's the average home. So it's really between $300,000 and $500,000. That's where so you're starting at 3 and ending at 5. And I'm talking about threes are the houses for $300,000 now are the ones that were $78,000 when I was 27. Yeah. Literally, that's how it is. So they're looking at it going, I got to have somebody to get, and I don't agree with this. It's a monolithic, ignorant sort of mentality of I'm looking for who can solve my problems. Okay, and they run towards, let's say, Mondami. Okay, Mondami's going to solve your problems, but so communism is going to solve your problems? That's never solved the problem. But he's addressing unaffordability. Or what they just call affordability. I call unaffordability. But he's addressing affordability. Yeah, he's addressing it using Stalinism. So you can't go that way. Certainly Trump would be better, but people don't think like that. But anyway, so let's look at the numbers coming out of the economy. Jesse Waters' video. New, Trump secured trillions. Play for me.
You hear that? Cha-ching.
Under the Trump administration, America is back and America is open for business. In 4 long years, Joe Biden secured less than $1 trillion. In 9 short months, I've secured $18 trillion to rebuild our factories, create hundreds of thousands of jobs, and bring back those beautiful words, made in America.
The trade deficit's shrinking, the GDP's growing, and you hear that giant sucking sound? We flipped it. All those jobs are being sucked back into America.
We just took a picture backstage with some of the great business leaders and some of the great people, friends of mine from your country, and beautiful picture. And while we were taking the picture, I said, could you make it 1.5 trillion? So he's got something to think about.
The Saudis went from fist bumps with Biden to cash dumps with Trump. That'll produce jobs, jobs, jobs.
GE Aerospace will soon be delivering dozens of new airplane engines for 787 Dreamliners in Saudi Arabia's commercial fleet. Big order. It was a big order just secured. Every new job and every new factory created by these announcements builds up our middle class and really strengthens the industrial backbone of America.
Now and there's numbers coming out all day today. Let's look at all those numbers. Look at all those jobs. Eric Doherty video breaking. Experts shocked as the United States adds stunning 119,000 jobs. Play for me.
And here we go. This is the September jobs report. Non-farm payrolls are up a robust 119,000. 119,000 will be the best since April, when we were up 158,000. In the rearview mirror, well, last month was downgraded from 22,000 to minus 4,000. Now, if we look at what's going on with the unemployment rate, it ticked up from 4.3 to 4.4. That was unexpected. 4.4 would, last time we were at that level, boy, I have to go back a ways. October of 2021, when it was 4.5%. Now, if we look at labor force participation rate, it ticked up. That's a good thing. 62.4 equals where we were in May. You have to go to April of this year when it was 62.6 to find a higher number. In terms of the earnings, average hourly earnings, month over month, up 0.2. That's a bit on the weak side. We're expecting up 0.3, up 0.2 each.
All right, so and let me just address the one bad thing that he said there, the 4.4% unemployment rate, which, by the way, statistically means full employment in the United States of America, just so you know. But anyway, but here's how that works. Notice the caveat that he put in there, labor force participation rate. So here's what happens, is if the more people that are looking for jobs, the higher the unemployment rate goes up. Once you no longer look for a job, they take you off of the stat of the unemployed. That's how the government works. I mean, why would anybody ever trust the government? I mean, everybody hear what I just said? If you are somebody who puts yourself down as looking for a job, you're considered to be unemployed, and you go into the unemployment rate. If you say, I give up and I'm no longer looking for a job, put me on welfare, they take you off, and it doesn't count against the government unemployment rate. This is how it all works. So what do the Democrats always do? Make people not look for jobs so the unemployment rate goes down. It's how it always works. It's how it always is. It's always like that. Here's another one for you. Stephen Moore video. The American economy is set to grow 4%, while Europe and Japan are flatlining and China slides toward a mini depression. Play for me.
A second point, you know, we've been talking about this 4% growth that we've seen in the U.S. economy over the last 6 months. I want to contrast that with what's happening in the rest of the world, where, look at, Europe is flatlined, Japan is flatlined, China's in a mini depression right now. It's pretty incredible. We're carrying the rest of the world on our shoulders, which is because of what Trump is doing, and the rest of the world has to follow his lead of lowering taxes, lowering spending, deregulating their economy.
All right, so there you go. Just wanted to show you the numbers. And again, not white-pilled, not black-pilled, great Trump. That is a great job. And again, you've heard it a million times on this podcast. He has secured $18 trillion of foreign and domestic investment into our economy, mainly foreign. What did Biden get totally in 4 years? $1 trillion. We found out today from Donald J. Trump. Joe Biden and his entire administration got $1 trillion worth of investment. Donald Trump in 9 months, $18 trillion. What is it going to be at the end of 4 years? What on earth would it be? Maybe he is going to pull it off. You know what? I refuse to be blackpilled because I'm going to always tell the truth about Donald Trump, good or bad. I refuse to be blackpilled. I refuse to be whitepilled. But I mean, listen, I like to go against myself. I tend to be negative, so I fight against that and try to be positive. So I mean, he said that he's going to lower the deficit, the debt and deficits via not only tariffs but all of this foreign and domestic investment. You know what? If anybody can pull it off, it's him. If you can build high rises in New York City with the mob and unions, you can probably pull it off. So credit to him. All right, now let's shift this. Now, for the rest of the show, I'm flying all over the place. I just put together a random stack of stuff. Some of it will make sense because some of it will stick together. Some of it doesn't because I just felt like doing it that way. Because a lot of times we only get into one major subject matter. I want to fly all over the globe today. Well, really, it's all over the United States, but whatever, the globe-ish. All right, and wokeness video. Breaking, everybody saw this huge news today. Woman set on fire riding the Chicago train. Play it for me.
This is Lawrence Reed's most recent booking photo, the latest in a long string of lockups. We found 49 arrests, including 10 felony cases and an active aggravated battery case from August, in which Reed was accused of hitting a social worker at McNeil Psychiatric Hospital, causing loss of consciousness, 2 ER visits, and lasting memory issues, headaches, and daily nausea. The Cook County State's attorney asked a judge to keep Reed in custody until his trial for the August battery, but one judge put him on electronic monitoring before a different judge modified the monitoring.
Now, what's he guilty of? Well, I'm going to show you here in a second. What he's guilty of is squirting lighter fluid all over a woman and lighting her on fire, a 26-year-old woman, on the Chicago train. Great job, Democrats. Once a job. I mean, great job, Democrats. Whenever you find Democrats, you find lies and dead bodies. She's not dead. She appears to have, she did survive. I don't know. And she's in obviously critical condition. Her body was basically lit on fire by this guy who'd been arrested. Let's just go ahead and be hyperbolic 1 million times and let out by people like J.B. Pritzker. RNC research video, failed Governor J.B. Pritzker. Play it for me.
Welcome back. A horrifying crime in Chicago to tell you about. A man with a long, violent criminal history is facing a federal terrorism charge after police say he went up to a 26-year-old woman who was riding the train in the city. He doused her with gasoline and then lit her on fire. The woman is still in the ICU right now. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Jillian Turner Griffiths. Great to be with you. This is a horror show.
It's great to be with you.
It's hard to even talk about it.
It's hard to talk about this because it's so bad. Dana and Bill are off today. We're tackling it because the terrifying train attack sparking outrage over the growing danger on Chicago mass transit. Flames engulfing the woman's body, leaving her in critical condition with severe burns.
Despite a long rap sheet, some of the incidents reportedly going back all the way to the early 90s. This guy was back out on the street. Federal officials saying he could ultimately face life in prison now.
Lawrence Reed had no business being on the streets given his violent criminal history and his pending criminal cases. Reed had plenty of second chances by the criminal justice system, and as a result, you have an innocent victim in the hospital fighting for her life. Because of the swift action of CPD, ATF, and our law enforcement partners, there will be no other chances for Mr. Reed.
Great job. Of course, Trump has to come in and solve the problems caused by Democrats. They cause the problems and either offer their totalitarian solutions, or we come in and have to solve them for them, i.e. ICE, i.e. our military having to come in and round up all the illegals that they let in under the Biden administration. But this, Aaron brought this up, reminds us of the attack, of course, because you have a black man assaulting a white woman, because nobody else will say it except for those of us who have the guts to say it, is that we have a systemic existential black on white crime problem in this country.
Yep.
It has now become very, very obvious, very pervasive. Let's all just say it out loud. We have a problem with black people attacking white people. It doesn't make you a racist to say it, because we don't have any white people attacking black people. If we do, please send me the videos. You know how you send me videos? Follow me on Twitter. I've been saying that. Follow me. Go ahead. I don't even know if you're a Rumble. I love Rumble. I'm just saying I need the followers on Twitter. So just get an account on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. And then stay on Rumble if you want, but you can also watch live on Twitter. But anyway, we're going to have to go ahead and say it out loud that we have a major pervasive problem in the United States with black on white crime, because we had Aaron will help me out with the Ukrainian and Russian pronunciation, Irina Sarutska.
Yes.
Irina Sarutska, where we had her stabbed to death by a black man with a long criminal history. And now we have another black man, Lawrence Reed, who has a 50 prior arrest record, dousing this woman with gasoline, a white woman, and lighting her on fire because he gets told by Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries and Jasmine Crockett that every white person is a member of the KKK and has suppressed him his whole life. And that's the reason why, not his 50 prior arrests. That has nothing to do with why his life is miserable. It is white people that have caused it. So he feels justified in lighting a white woman on fire on the Chicago train because he's been living under people like Lori Lightfoot and Brandon Johnson for years, and has been making has been arrested 50 prior times, and has been living under their restorative justice policies, and keeps getting released. And now Trump has to move in with the ATF. Anybody ever see that before? I've never seen that before. I've never seen the ATF move in and take over. Do you know why they are? Because finally somebody's going to get this guy off the streets. Because otherwise we'd have Brandon Johnson come in and tell us about the justifications of why he lit this woman on fire. Speaking of Brandon Johnson, Paul used to pull a video. Mayor Brandon Johnson tries to whitewash the burning alive of a woman on the Chicago train. Play for me.
What I can say is that as awful and as horrific as this tragedy is, this is as an isolated incident. As we continue to invest more in our public transportation system, we want people to feel safe as they ride. And so many working people rely on our public transportation system across the city. And that's why I'm doing my part to ensure that these investments are getting right to the people so that, of course, people can continue to enjoy.
So there's little Brandon with his little fro hawk, with his security guards all around him, behind the guns and the walls you're not allowed to have. And he actually says that it's an isolated incident. Now, I can guarantee you, it's supposed to be darn, not tarn. I can guarantee you that there will be somewhere between 40 and 55 shootings this weekend. Oh, we're going into Thanksgiving, aren't we, Aaron?
Yeah.
It's going to go up.
It's going to go up.
All right, so it's going to be between 40 and 60, 70 shootings this weekend in Chicago. But don't worry, Aaron, it's an isolated incident.
Right. Okay.
All right. And lo and behold, it just keeps on being, as Will pointed out, black on white, because black on white, little white women, by the way, the little white women, because they're vulnerable. They're not going to fight back. They're not going to go up to Will, the Marine. They're not going to go up to Will, because Will at most would have, Will at least would have, when he got doused with gasoline, grabbed a hold of the guy.
Absolutely.
And you're going to light on fire, you're going to light his bowl on fire. And then Will just pray that he'll be Daniel in the lion's den, just not burn.
Yeah.
Eat it. But anyway, so we're just going to have to talk about it out loud. So let's just stay in Chicago for just a moment. Eric Doherty video. Holy smokes, Chicago public schools. You're going to love this one, Aaron. Spent over $7 million on teaching the kids. Will's a teacher. Teaching the kids, helping the kids. Meals for kids, backpacks for kids. No, on luxurious travel for teachers and principals, despite a budget hole of $700 million. They're $1 billion in the hole, deficit spending, but they found room for $7 million worth of luxurious travel for teachers and principals. Play it for me.
Expenses at the Chicago public school system. Among the findings, employees at the cash-strapped district spent millions on trips to Las Vegas and even overseas. What is up with this? Mike Tobin is live there in the Windy City. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Dana. The Inspector General took a look at the travel expenses of teachers and principals in the Chicago public school systems and concluded that when the bank accounts were fat with COVID money, the staff ran wild. As you mentioned, trips to Egypt, Finland, Hawaiian resorts, even went on a safari, and there was no oversight to stop them. The amount spent on travel in 2021 was $300,000. It jumped up in 2022 to $3.4 million, doubled in 2023, and kept getting bigger in 2024. The report concludes that more scrutiny was put to whether the expense paperwork was done correctly than whether the expenses were excessive. As a result, more than 90% of the traveling employees went over the allowable limits. Oftentimes, lodging and airfare was double the allowable rate. One of the reasons the trips were not rejected is that they were not asking for approval. Of 15 international trips noted by the Inspector General, 12 were never submitted for approval. And then we start seeing wildlife trips, balloon rides, staff staying extra days for personal reasons, and this in a school district that claims a $700 million budget hole.
We do need more special ed teachers, but if you can think about the fact that $7.7 million in wasted taxpayer money for balloon rides and looking at giraffes and elephants could have gone to hiring 100 of those special ed teachers. These are the questions that we need to be asking.
Upon release of the Inspector General's report, Chicago Public Schools froze all overnight travel with this statement. This measure reflects our continued commitment to responsible financial stewardship and to prioritizing resources that directly support classrooms and students. As far as performance, less than half of 3rd to 8th graders are reading at grade level. Less than a quarter are proficient in math. Dana?
Mike, it sounds like there might be more of this where that came from, unfortunately. Thank you.
So while the teachers are going on trips to Egypt, Finland, now they teach in Chicago, so I mean, Aaron, you'd have to go to Finland, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound outlandish here. I don't want to sound out of line or somebody who doesn't understand.
Yeah.
But if you teach in Chicago, of course you have to go to Finland.
Totally.
And Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay, and Hawaiian resorts.
Right.
And African safaris.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have to do that if you're going to, and of course, the quintessential balloon rides.
Yes.
You have to go on those things because if you're going to reach the galactic levels of excellence the Chicago school system has reached, which is 1/2 of your students can't read, and only 1/4 of them can perform math at grade level. In order to reach those galactic levels of excellence, you got to make sure that you're in Egypt, Finland, Hawaii, and African safaris while you glide over them all like a Chinese balloon on your balloon ride, right? And all this money came, and I love it. Here's what the Chicago school system, and now, of course, they never would have ever said anything, but they got caught. They put out, Aaron, don't worry, they put out a memo.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's a strongly worded memo.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it solves everything.
Yes.
It's strongly worded.
Yes.
All right, so that makes me feel better, makes Aaron feel better, makes Will feel better. There's a strongly worded memo that's put out. And they said this memo, don't worry, this memo says it communicates our continued commitment to learning excellence. Okay, how is it a continued commitment when there was no initial commitment? So there is no commitment. And just going back, this all started, well, it didn't just start, but it got ballooned, pun intended, with the COVID money. Now, Aaron brought up a very valid point, and I'm going to kill him if I end up diving too deep into this, but we all know how much was spent on COVID. $7 trillion was spent on a 0.1% death rate virus, which is exactly the same or less than the flu, depending on the demographic. But anyway, so $7 trillion was spent. Now, they've only been able to track $800 billion actually spent on anything related to COVID. So as Aaron said, now we know where all the rest went. Balloon rides, safaris, Finland, Egypt, and Hawaiian resorts. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. And another great job by Democrat. Aaron, give me, while you're on camera. Go ahead. I just want to give our appreciation to Democrats once again. Go, Aaron.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to ask, am I able to pay more in taxes to help fund that?
Well, yeah, you do have that option. You can.
Yeah.
The Democrats never do it. Democrats are always raising our taxes and lowering their own. But I'm just saying, you can. You always have the option to pay for it. I mean, you really do want to pay for that Chicago teacher who gets 3.5 months off a year. And by the way, as Aaron pointed out, it wasn't just $7 million. It was $7.7 million. So basically $8 million. And those I'm sorry, Will, if this insults you, but, and by the way, both my parents were teachers. And listen, teaching is not a hard job. I was around it. I'm sorry, that offends people, offends Republicans and Democrats. I don't care. I was around it. I was around it for most of my law enforcement career because I was involved in the youth services unit, so I knew. And it's not a hard job. It just isn't. Okay, there's moments because it's human interactions that it is taxing more so than if you were simply making Sharpies at a Sharpie factory. But here's the thing. Basically, it's a short work day and you get 3 to 3.5 months off per year. That's a pretty good job. All right, and you get you get 12-month contract, but you only work 9. Pretty good. I mean, would everybody agree? And by the way, as somebody who used to dig ditches for a living, made bean burritos for a living, that's a pretty good job. Okay? And by the way, I say the exact same thing about law enforcement. It's not a hard job.
Yeah.
It's not. It has moments that are brutal and is harder than teaching, because I've been around both. I've actually done both. So it is harder than teaching, because you know what? Occasionally you come up with somebody's brains blown out and you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a little harder than, some Johnny Snotnose that you got to deal with and send to the principal's office. Okay. But anyway, great job by the Democrats once again. Now, Wall Street Apes video, new documents show the Chicago Teachers Union have a recording studio 1,000 miles away in New Mexico, I'm sure paid for by COVID funds. Play it for me.
Can anybody tell me why the Chicago Teachers Union needs a recording studio in New Mexico? In new documents, they spent $173,000 at 265 Sunset Road in Albuquerque. Their accounting describes it as a recording studio. Zillow shows it also has a pool. CTU described the payment as part of representational activities, which legally must be associated with the negotiation, administration, and enforcement of collective bargaining agreements. With an audit, CTU might be able to explain how a recording studio 1,000 miles away helps them with that, but they haven't released one of those in 5 years. Any questions, teacher?
Yeah, just curious. I mean, what recordings are they making at this recording studio? Do they have like some sort of ensemble? Are they putting together a Christmas album from all the teachers? Who exactly is going there? And as Aaron says, it has a pool. And this is the Democrats for you. We're here for the poor, for the oppressed. No, they're not. They are here to say they're for the poor and oppressed, form an NGO to feed the poor and oppressed, pay themselves to feed the poor and oppressed. They're giving themselves $10 billion to feed the poor and oppressed, pay themselves $9.9 billion out of that $10 billion and give the poor and oppressed $1 million. That is the Democratic Party. That's not you and me. That's the Democratic Party. That's what the entire world is, the entire globalist left, WEF, European Union, NATO, United Nations, Bank of London, most of Israel, a lot of England, basically any country that you can name, a lot of the United States, all of Canada. That's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. Creating NGOs to enrich specific bourgeois, globalist, leftist elitists, and they can be leftists even if they have an R in front of their name. Let's go to the next one. Johnny Midnight video. Seems like a public schools. Oh, wait, I think you already outlined this. Skip that one, Will. Skip that one. Yeah, because I already outlined it. Let's go to the next one. Jesse Waters. Good news. Is Elon back? Play it for me.
And guess who else was there? Elon Musk. It's been a minute. Ronaldo took a selfie with him during cocktails. Trump said, "What's up, Musk?" when he rolled into dinner. I wonder if Elon crashed in his old office like the good old times back in the Doge days before Elon said Trump was in the Epstein files. I guess he was kind of right, but not in that way. But either way, water under the bridge.
They got the worst policy. I don't talk about it too much because if I talk about it, they might change. I tell people, don't talk about it. Wait till 2 weeks before the election and hit the hell out of them. Right? We talked about that, right, Elon?
So the boys are back?
Now, that was part of the Rasmussen discussion. Now, how did Rasmussen end up at the White House? He was on Alex Jones talking about Trump's tanking numbers amongst 20 to 40-year-olds. And they end up in Rasmussen. They end up having Rasmussen come to the White House, speaks with Rubio, Susie Wiles, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump. And lo and behold, one of the suggestions from Alex Jones, and Alex Jones, powerful dude, powerful guy. He meets Trump, calls him regularly. They fight a little bit, but, Trump calls him regularly. And lo and behold, Rasmussen's on Alex Jones. Trump has publicly said he watches Alex Jones, he watches Fox News. And lo and behold, Rasmussen's up there and says, we need Elon back because that wins you back those 20 to 40-year-olds. Elon has a plan. You see Elon fixing government waste, fraud, and abuse via Doge. I miss Doge. I miss the Doge reports. I miss all of that. Big balls didn't take the place of Elon Musk. He just got abused on the streets. We need Elon Musk back, and it seems maybe this is going to happen. Now, I have this big announcement right here. Go ahead and put that up. So we're building a TLP pool to go along with the teachers union pool. And here's the thing. Will came up with the idea. We're going to do a whole TLP. No, now you're gonna have to get just like the teachers in Chicago, with the city of Chicago paying all the teachers union and everything else. We're gonna need you to give a lot more in the rent.
Yeah.
So that we can have the TLP pool.
You can start now.
Yeah, you can start right now. Go ahead and give to the TLP pool, or you can just look at it as the Pastor Tom pool, because if you're a pastor, you got to have a pool, right? It's just the way it is. We'll build it right out here back of the church, and then as Will said, we'll do a TLP, in our swim trunks and poolside and whatever else, and then I'll have Aaron also make it a recording studio, so we can be just like Chicago Public Schools. All that tax money, all the tithe money, and everything else. So you just abuse people like the Democrats do. Play it for me. Aaron, go.
I was just gonna say we can have the Margarita Bible studies there.
Bible studies. Things you always hear about.
Yeah.
Drunken Christians advocating Christianity while they're drunk.
That's perfect.
That's great, isn't it? As if they're going to heaven, which you're not. So anyway, 1 Corinthians 6, 9, and 10, by the way. A drunkard will not inherit the kingdom of God. But anyway, Wall Street Apes video, I told you I'm jumping all over the place tonight, requested data from Ramsey County, Minnesota, which is Minneapolis, St. Paul, shows, actually, I'm not sure if it is. I checked into it. I'm not sure. Aaron, check that. I don't want to give false information. Ramsey County, Minnesota. Just see if it is. I don't think it is, but it might be. I think it is, because these numbers are huge on this thing. But anyway, Ramsey County, Minnesota. Yeah. All right, but we'll play the video and then we'll look into it. Wall Street Apes video. Requested data from Ramsey County, Minnesota shows last year Ramsey County gave a whopping $38.4 million to a total of, my favorite thing, 213 NGOs. Play for me.
It is really amazing to hear. This is supposed to be a simple data request, as they say on their website. You're getting stonewalled by Ramsey County government. You uncover, though, ultimately some eye-opening facts eventually tied to property taxes. And just to keep everyone informed, especially Ramsey County residents, what are the facts here? What exactly did you find?
So after 2 months, they finally sent us a spreadsheet with some of the information we requested, and turns out that last year, Ramsey County gave a whopping $38.4 million to a total of 213 NGOs.
So in doing all this work, you weren't just trying to find answers, you were asking questions along the way. We have some video here of you specifically asking county commissioners for some answers at a recent meeting. Let's take a look.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak about our spiraling out of control property taxes. Property taxes are up by about 30 to 40% in the past 5 years. Ramsey County property taxes are already the highest in the state and 62% above the national average. And I wanted to ask the committee a few questions, and if any of you know the answers, please speak up. How many non-governmental organizations receive money from property tax revenue? The answer is 213. And how much money do these groups receive each year? The answer is $38.4 million. I'm sure many of these groups provide a service, but what are the performance metrics used to gauge if the programs are working each year? How do you score them? How many new groups are added each year? And are any of the groups removed for not providing the intended services? And one last question, are they audited each year?
Yeah, off the chat, Swethy says, hey, next gift to give away for TLP donations is the TLP towel. We're going to have me, Aaron, and Will all in mankinis like this for a TLP towel. So there you go. No, that's a joke, by the way. But anyway, just looking at this. Now, this is St. Paul. So you have Minneapolis, St. Paul. So basically, it's like a twin city like Dallas, Fort Worth. It's Minneapolis, St. Paul. St. Paul's huge. I knew it had something to do with the Minneapolis area. It's Minneapolis, St. Paul. So, and here's the list of the donations. Blow it up as big as you guys can for them and me. It doesn't. I don't have to see the whole thing. Just if I can just get half of it, it's good. Right there is good, or it may be a little bigger. But anyway, so here you have St. Paul, Minnesota, of course, under the jurisdiction of Tampon Timmy Waltz. Tampon Tim Waltz. So again, I mean, and if you ever look at the economic numbers coming out of Minnesota, i.e. Ilhan Omar, Timmy Waltz, all of that, they're absolutely devastating. They rank in the bottom half in every category in the United States of America. Every is probably hyperbolic. But anyway, so here you have from Ramsey County. Now, I don't know how much they bring in total revenue per year, but $38.4 million going to 213 NGOs. Now, they will all claim poor. I guarantee you they're operating at debt and deficit levels. I guarantee you the city workers are waiting for a raise. I guarantee you the streets are a mess. We all know Minneapolis is crime-ridden. It's under Jacob Fry, habitual Somali lover, COVID caver. But anyway, in his acceptance speech, or his whatever you call it, when he got elected, his re-election speech, he did part of it in Somali. That's what it is. So where does some of this money go? Let's just look. Justice Point Inc., $3 million. South Metro Human Services. Aaron's Human Services.
Oh, of course.
Catholic Charities.
Hey.
$2 million. Lutheran Social Services, $1.5 million. Western Community Health Services, $1.5 million. Regions Hospital. That might make some sense. Maybe. $1.4 million. Merritt Communities. I love these generalities. Community services. So what are they really? And I know all of you already know the answer to this if you watch this podcast. What it is every single one of these organizations are run and fully staffed by Democrats who pay themselves exorbitant amounts of money to disseminate small amounts of money. They get exorbitant amounts of money. Then they pay themselves exorbitant amounts of money and then disseminate very small amounts of money. That's what they do. And part of the exorbitant amounts of money that they pay themselves and actually do put out are to the campaign coffers of Democrats or other organizations and NGOs run by the spouses of elected Democrats, or giving it directly to the campaigns of Democrats or Democrat consultants. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I'm talking about this. Our entire country is like, even the big, beautiful bill does this. The big, beautiful bill still does this. We're still spending billions and hundreds of billions of dollars to organizations who do nothing but enrich Democrats. You mean under Donald Trump we're doing that? Yes. Yes, less, but we're still doing it. We're still spending billions of dollars. We're still of tax revenue. We're sending it to NGOs to perform services they don't perform. What they can do is they have a measure of cognitive dissonance. They have a measure of plausible deniability where they can say, well, we are, in fact, paying for nose jobs in Costa Rica. Okay, now they received $2 billion for nose jobs in Costa Rica. Now, they paid themselves $1.8 billion to facilitate $2 million worth of nose jobs. That's what they do. So they have plausible deniability. That's all that, you're like, Tom, it's not that simplistic. It is. Otherwise, we wouldn't be $38 trillion in debt. Because if we were actually spending the money on ourselves, we wouldn't have to keep going in debt over and over again because everything would be fixed. If we actually spent $38 trillion to fix our country, everything would be fixed, we'd be able to pay off the debt because everything would be fixed. But instead, it goes to things like milestone community development, youth prize. We all know what youth prize is. Hey, let me train you how to lop off your own penis. That's what it is. Think small. That could go a lot of directions.
Yeah.
Solid ground, face to face. Children's health care, which of course it doesn't go to children's health care. Comunidades Latinos, Unidas El Servicio. $661,000 go to that. For what? For what? Because they're going to give out of that 661 they got, they'll give $100,000 to all the Democrats and all their spouses and their attorneys and their advisors. And they'll put on a banquet and everything else for them to solicit more funds. That's what it's all about. Go, Aaron.
Yeah, can you just refresh my memory real quick? Number 3 on there, Catholic Charities, $2 million. Didn't they, get people to come across the border, and weren't they, feeding them and bringing them over? I can't remember.
Yeah, of course. If you're a Catholic, you want to facilitate sex trafficking.
Yeah.
That's part of your faith, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. Same thing with Jewish Family Services.
There it is.
They were the primary two NGOs receiving hundreds of billions of dollars to facilitate 30 million illegal border invaders across the border, setting up tents and everything else along the way. And we weren't allowed in those tents.
Right.
Weird, isn't it?
Just wanted to remind.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah. But that, of course, they're doing it in the name of their Jewish faith and the new name of their Catholic faith.
Yeah.
Let's facilitate child sex slavery and child labor slavery. Let's do that, shall we? In the name of Jesus or in the name of Yahweh.
Amen.
There you go. And it's so Christ-like.
Yeah.
Repulsive. But but the thing is, Catholic Family Services receives that money, but they receive billions and billions of dollars, but of course a lot of it goes back to the people that give it to them. That's weird, isn't it? That's called a circle bleep symbiote. All right. Let's talk about some more Democratic activities. Wall Street Apes video. This one's dedicated to my friend Aaron. He knows why. Yes. Aaron is not a law-abiding citizen when it comes to trash. Okay. And by the way, he's now corrupted my wife, who, because of Aaron, is no longer a law-abiding citizen when it comes to trash. You're supposed to put your recyclables in the blue can and your non-recyclables in the green can here in Sarasota County. Aaron's a lawbreaker. Okay, I'm just turning him in right now. So anyway.
Yep.
And now he's corrupted my own wife. And by the way, that's wrong because he's corrupted me too because I did the exact same thing. Right?
Yes. Yep. It's spreading.
I'm like, who's going to know?
I have true trash cans.
That was the conversation I had with Aaron. Was I'm like, there's a new trash service that was put out here in Sarasota County, and you only get one can. It used to be you could put out 17 cans, they pick them up for you. Now nothing. You get one can. That's it. It's big can. So I got one of those mashers and stuff, and so I'm like working hard. I'm mashing all of our trash down to get down to one can. Aaron's like, why are you doing all that work? I'm saying because I only got the one can. He goes, I got 2 cans. I said, what do you mean you got 2 cans? I only got 1 can. He goes, no, I got the 2 cans. What are you talking about? How did you? I said, well, because you can get 2 cans if you pay for it. You have to pay like another $25 a month or something, whatever. Even though you already pay your taxes to get it. But anyway, I digress. So Aaron, I said, oh, you paid to get another can? No. He goes, I got 2 cans. So how do you get 2 cans? I only got 1 can. He goes, I said, Aaron, is one of them green and one of them blue? He goes, yeah, the 2 cans. I said, well, the blue one is just for recyclables. Your aluminum and your plastic and everything. You're not even allowed to put plastic bags there. Aluminum and plastic. He goes, no, I put everything I want in there.
Yeah.
He goes, I put my baby's dirty diapers in there. I put anything I want in there. So I'm like, oh. So Aaron didn't even know. He's like, I got 2 cans. I'm like, what do you? So, and by the way, now my wife and I have adopted that we now have 2 cans. Aaron's a corrupting influence. Okay? He's evangelized my wife and I. All right, so anyway, Wall Street Apes video. So here's what's going on in San Diego in response to people like me and Aaron. The San Diego, they have a title. Aaron, side by side it. Lid lifters. San Diego, run by Democrats, are already hitting the streets to visit every single home in San Diego every year to make sure they're recycling. Play for me.
Big Brother hit the curbside in San Diego.
We've never been this detailed and thorough with it.
The Democrat-run city hired lid lifters to snoop through your garbage at 6 a.m., checking for proper recycling under new state mandates.
I'm weird. I'm excited. I think it's cool to dig through trash, but I get it. I'm not the normal person.
Non-compliant bins get slapped with oops tags, forcing resorts, while managers gush over digging in trash.
We're not going to be enforcing or doing any kind of citations for minor or major contaminations.
Privacy invasion or eco-necessity.
So there you go. Now, let's look at why it is that this is a giant waste of time, shall we? So now, that's San Diego. So let's go to Tiburon County, California. Wall Street Apes video again. This is Tiburon, California. Here, residents can be fined $500 for not separating their trash while disposing of it. As you can see, when the city comes to pick it up, it's a little bit of a different story. Play for me.
Welcome to the progressive bastion of Marin County, California, where we environmentalists go out of our way to separate our refuse for a more sustainable planet. Residents can be fined up to $500 for not properly separating their trash. As you can see, the separating can be futile, as all this trash is remixed in the truck and hauled to the landfill. This is at the end of Tiburon's Restaurant Row, where the restaurants diligently separate their waste into recyclables, compostables, and common trash. I witnessed bin after bin of meticulously sorted waste, several tons worth, dumped into the same truck, crushed, and hauled away. Recycling is not specifically mentioned in the book, but rent-seeking is. And so is virtue signaling.
Just wanted to show you. That's the deal. That's the reality things. That's the people pimping and whoring climate change. Make sure you recycle. They put it all in the same thing. Put it all in the same trash compactor, smash it all up and burn it. There you go. There's exceptions, but I mean, really, that's the deal. That's how it's always been. All right, let's go to the next one. Jesse Waters video. New, Trump secured $18 trillion. That's the title of the video. But this part here, I want you to know the title of the video so you can find it on Twitter. This is focusing on Kamala's return to politics. I don't know. Play it for me.
Kamala couldn't even sell herself. No way she could sell America. All can she sell is a book about how she lost.
We're here with Auntie Madamite's president in Nashville. So excited for tonight's book talk.
It's great to be back with you, Justin. The power's with the people. Everybody make sure you vote.
Kamala took a break from her DEI book tour and hit the campaign trail. No one asked her to campaign in Virginia and New Jersey and New York, so she grabbed the bullhorn like Reverend Al and went buck wild in Tennessee.
Who's the power with? The people! The power with? The people!
Is Kamala ready to get back inside that octagon and trade blows with Greasy for the nom? Or is she still unburdened by what has been?
With all that you know to be possible, all that you know can be, unburdened, as you know I say, by what has been, but seeing what can be.
Kamala's new line, 107 days wasn't enough time.
Was 107 days just not feasible in terms of what you had to do?
It wasn't enough time.
Plain and simple.
It wasn't enough time, yeah.
Kamala was VP for 4 years. 107 days was enough. Donors lost $2 billion. With Trump, we scored $18 trillion. Now, I'm not that great at math, but America won.
As Aaron just said, she spent $2 billion in 100 days. $2 billion and couldn't win. And you were sitting vice president of the United States for 4 years and you still couldn't win.
Ouch.
Yeah, talk about hurting. And she breaks it out again. What could be unburned by what has been? I mean, I told you, our opponents are not smart. They're just zealous. And she's actually campaigning for a woman who is running for, I think it's going to be is it an open Senate seat or an open congressional seat in Tennessee? I can't remember the woman's name, but anyway, she's running for this open seat, and this woman is already, and it covers Nashville area, so it must be a congressional seat. She's running for that seat, and the woman has already come out and said, "I hate Nashville and country music," and that's who. Now, Kamala wasn't asked to run in Virginia, and wasn't asked to run in New York, wasn't asked to to help the campaigns in Virginia, New York, or New Jersey, but she's slithering off to Tennessee to basically help with the campaign that they have no chance of winning. And I just wanted to comment one thing, because the Democrats continue to celebrate their electoral victory in 2-3 weeks ago in all Democrat areas that they're supposed to win. But I have one comment on that. Where in the heck is the RNC? I'm just curious, because that's another part of that Rasmussen interview. RNC, he met Rasmussen, the head of Rasmussen, went and met with the RNC, and he said they were not particularly interested. They were happy with digressing back to Mitt Romney numbers. That's a fact. Because you ever just wonder, where was our presence in these elections? Where was Trump? I mean, where was the RNC? And who's running the RNC now? It used to be Laura Trump. I don't know if she's running it now or not. So I'm like, where is the RNC in these elections? You know why the RNC isn't there? And we all know it used to be run by Ronna Romney McDaniels, because they're actually Democrats, wanting the Democrats to win. That's the truth. All right, so Wall Street Apes video. Zohran Mamdani has chosen his replacement for his New York State Assembly seat. Here is Zohran made this, this is all true. It's not hyperbolic. This is true. This is his replacement. And her name, Aaron, you can side by side. Her name is Aber Kawas. This is his successor. Now, of course, he's unbiased, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, Democrats say once they take office, they're completely unbiased. They would never persecute a Republican. They would never wrongfully prosecute a Republican. They would never perjure their way into prosecuting a Republican. And of course, Zohran would pick a Jewish successor. Would he pick a non-Muslim successor? No, he picks a hyper-Muslim successor named Aber Kawas. And here she is talking. Play it for me.
And finding that, the system of capitalism and racism and white supremacy, etc., and Islamophobia have all been used, to colonize lands, right, to take resources from other people. And so this is like a long trajectory. And we're just seeing the manifestations of that continuation, right, with 9/11.
I won't make you listen anymore. That is a successor in the New York State Assembly of all these unbiased Democrats. Can you imagine living in that state? Let's go to the next one. Mila Joy video. Did you know Ilhan Omar's family was part of the government that got ejected from Somalia? Who really is Ilhan Omar? She claims to be this oppressed immigrant refugee, but who was she really? Was she a refugee, or was she a fugitive fleeing from justice? Play it for me.
Let's take Ilhan Omar as an example, okay? She comes from a family, and they call her a refugee who came from Somalia, right? They call her a refugee. Her family were the governing party the Marxist Islamist government in Somalia, who were overthrown and then fled. Now, technically that makes her a refugee, but she wasn't fleeing oppression, or rather her family weren't fleeing oppression, they were fleeing justice. They were fleeing their own people, holding them to account for the dictatorship that they had established. So you have people like the Omar family, and what do? Do they come to America and see America and go, okay, this is pretty cool. They're not oppressing each other. Let's be part of this. No, they go, hey, how can we oppress them? You know, how can we bring Marxism to America? That's the thought process. And it may be a passive thought process, but it's the thought process.
And then she commits immigration fraud with her brother and says that she's married to her brother. Just like Letitia James says she's married to her dad. If you're a Democrat, how do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm a virtuous human being? How do you when you support these criminals? She was basically a fugitive fleeing from justice. And as Aaron said, it would be like importing the Shah of Iran and putting them in charge of Minneapolis. Or putting them in the House of Representatives, when it won't be long until she's the senator coming out of the state of Minnesota either, because it was all Minneapolis last night. Aaron found it for me. 90,000 Muslims live now in Minneapolis. They're the largest voting bloc. It's over. It's over. She's going to be the senator coming out of the state of Minnesota. It won't be long because nobody can get that amount of votes. And by the way, they're having 8 children per family. So you can see where it's, and by the way, they all need to get deported. Period. If they're not already legal American citizens, which she is, which you can take away her citizenship because she is a immigration fraudster by marrying her brother and lying about her brother being her husband or not being her brother, whatever it is. All right, so let's go to some more criminality. Adam Hughes video. Corruption. Democrat Rep. Sheila, I have no idea how to pronounce her last name. Sherfilis, I believe. Oh, of course, she has the 3 names. Okay, never mind. Sheila McCormick has been charged with stealing $5 million. Get this, Aaron. In FEMA COVID vaccination funds.
Oh.
So once again, here we are.
There's more.
$7 trillion was spent on COVID, but they can only find $800 billion that was spent on COVID. So the rest of it went into Sheila McCormick's pocket, because she stole $5 million of FEMA COVID vaccinations funds, routing money through shell accounts, funding her 2021 campaign, and lying on her taxes. Play it for me.
She was back in the district at this event. We tried again.
I also wanted to ask you about the investigation into your families. But this is also part of her congressional duties. Congresswoman, you know, you're under investigation for the congressional ethics for violation of campaign finances. Congresswoman, this is your district. You have to answer to these people. Congresswoman.
Attorneys for her family's healthcare company aren't answering the I-Team's questions either. And the Department of Emergency Management says they won't comment on ongoing litigation, leaving taxpayers and her constituents wondering what happened to.
See, now I hate being falsely accused, right? So if you're being falsely accused, what would you do? I mean, all of us, we would look in the camera and say, it's all lies. It's conjured up Republican Party lies, wouldn't you? She didn't say that. She puts a poop-eating grin on her face and walks away. Why? And then again, you're supposed to be, these are not our bosses. These are not our betters. These are not our leaders. And I want everybody to understand that. Yes, the President of the United States is our leader, but we're beholden to the Constitution. But congressmen and women and senators are basically our piss boys.
Yep.
Going back to History of the World Part 1, Mel Brooks. They're our piss boys. And everyone, Aaron, we need to cut that. And every time I talk about piss boys, we need to just go ahead and have it side by side. You got Mel Brooks running around with a piss bucket to the globalist elitist. Okay? So that's what they are. They're not our betters. They are not our leaders. We are not their subordinates. They are representatives. And she needs to answer the frickin' question. Did you steal $5 million worth of COVID FEMA funds or not? If you didn't do it, you and I, 587 people that are watching right now, so a total of 590 people are watching this podcast right now with the 3 of us in this room, all 590 of us would go, I certainly didn't do it. I absolutely didn't do it. It's like Trump always says with Epstein. There it is. There it is. There, Mel Brooks right there, piss boy. That's what this started. Every time, this is what I want you to think is this meme that Aaron just posted. Oh, piss boy. That's what the senators and that's what Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
They are our piss boys. They're nothing more than that. They are our representatives, not our leaders. They are nothing more than when you hire an attorney, are they your boss? No, they're your piss boy. That's the way that it is. They're not your boss. You've hired them to what? Represent you. Yeah. Here's what Sheila McCormick was on and about doing. This is the business that she was conducting in the House of Representatives. This is how she was advocating for the citizenry that she represented. Here she is in 2022, Western Lensman video. Look at the depth of importance of the things that she's trying to legislate into existence. Play it for me.
I call on my colleagues from the U.S. Senate to pass the Crown Act to prohibit discrimination on the basis of hair texture, hairstyle that is commonly associated with a particular race and national origin. Lawsuits initiated by Black workers alleging discrimination against their natural hair in the workplace have filled courthouses for more than 40 years. This legislation will provide us with the freedom to wear our crowns without discrimination. We must understand that hair discrimination is rooted in systemic racism. Anti-Black hair sentiments on U.S. soil has existed for...
So what's vitally important to this woman, Sheila McCormick, is hair discrimination, which I'm 57 years old. I worked for the government for 25 years and had numerous jobs before that. And I pastored this church that has over 1,000 people attending. I've never once run into hair discrimination ever in my life towards anybody, white, black, or indifferent. But what's vitally important to Sheila McCormick is making sure that she puts laws in place to prevent something that never occurs called hair discrimination. What a bunch of idiots. All right, that's it. Rumble Rants tonight, Jules, 21 hours, $10. Richard Perry, $5. Total G Word, $5. Dave Souders, $5. Thank you guys so much in the rant. Thank you guys so much in the chat. I really do love each and every one of you. I really do appreciate you guys being on every night with us. Back here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, as always, for our final show until the end of Thanksgiving. Make sure you don't miss it. And what else? Oh, stick around for the post game. And I think that's it. Stick around for the post game. You'll love it. Back here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. Love you guys. God bless you. You know, Psalm 36:9, for with thee is the fountain of life. In thy light shall we see light. In other words, the correct perspective is found in the light of God. So I just urge you in this holiday season to make it Jesus focused. Don't spend less time with God because you're in the power of Thanksgiving or in the power of Christmas. Spend more time with God and it'll make those two events way better.
Have you ever had a question you were too afraid to ask? Or a thought you knew everyone was thinking but no one dared to say out loud? Welcome to the Hope Hotline, where nothing's off limits and we say what others won't. Real talk, raw truth, your questions finally answered.
Thanks for watching the Tom Laipply podcast. We appreciate your support. As a special thank you, when you donate $25 or more, you will get a free TLP koozie. Enjoy your favorite cold drink while tuning in to our latest takes on current events. Your support keeps us going. Donate now to claim yours.
So do I think women should guard the White House? No, I don't think I should either. It's not sexist to say that women can't do big physical labor things as good as giant men can. But people will tell you it is. Well, I'm not sexist. As a matter of fact, my favorite people are all female. I have a wife and I have 3 daughters. They're my favorite people in the world. But I could beat the fuck out of all of them. Okay? Listen, if they're guarding the door, I'm getting in. I don't mean to sound cocky, but I'm just real confident. I could fuck them up if I had the flu. Okay? Yeah, we're different. I could beat on my cat too. I'm not proud of it. I just tell you what's up. You want to bet money on me. I'll fuck that cat up.
To the
the left is now circulating the claim that ICE arrested a 15-year-old migrant kid outside of the grocery store where he worked in North Carolina, and they're using it to claim that ICE is just indiscriminately arresting teenagers and shoving their faces into the pavement. This claim was then circulated thousands of times and viewed by millions of people on social media. Turns out, it's not true. According to the Charlotte Observer, the employer told reporters that this kid was only 15 or 16, but employment records showed he was in his 20s. He was apprehended without incident in the store, but he tried to escape once he was in the parking lot, which is why he ended up being zip-tied. So no, ICE is not just indiscriminately grabbing kids off the street. That's a lie. Again. Oh, but speaking of 15-year-olds, here's one the media won't tell you about. Luis Lopez, who was actually 15, was shot and killed in July by an illegal alien from Mexico while he was trying to stop the man from raping his mom. Police then arrested 36-year-old Gildardo Amandor Martinez and charged him with murder, rape, and first-degree assault. He has now been placed under an ICE detainer. Lopez, still dead. Isn't it funny which 15-year-olds the left cares about and which ones they don't?
For what? Why are you arresting me? Is your...
Yeah. You know what for. Right? Welcome to America.
Wow.
This is this isn't... Don't resist.
I'm not...
How you doing? Yes, I'm Officer Galuz here with the town of Ocean Ridge. The reason why I'm pulling you over is your tag is expired. I'll need your license, registration, and insurance, please.
Why are you pulling me over?
Because your tag is expired.
Okay.
Okay?
Am I breaking the law?
Yes, your tag is expired.
Any crime?
Yes, your tag is expired.
Do you have a supervisor?
I am the supervisor right now. So I'll need your license. You have a choice, okay? And I'm going to explain this to you really probably once or twice to you, okay? I will call my supervisor, but if you fail to produce your information...
Call your supervisor. I'm not failing to do anything. I'm asking for you.
No, yes, you are.
No, I'm asking for
It's upon demand.
I'm demanding your supervisor.
No.
I'm not.
526, would you 56 me here? Now I need your license, please.
I'm not doing anything commercially. So...
Your tag is expired. Come here, I'll show you.
No.
It's right here. Lawful stop. It's a legal stop.
It's illegal. It's illegal or lawful?
It's legal, and I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm not arguing with you.
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing
good. So I'm the day shift supervisor.
Hi.
This officer has conducted a lawful traffic stop.
Is it lawful or illegal?
It's a lawful traffic stop.
It is? And
yes.
what law am I breaking?
Apparently, you're
what law is that?
Okay. Can we see your license and registration?
That has nothing to do with
10:15.
This is not even my car. I did not.
Lock this.
This is crazy. I hope your camera is on.
Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
Hop in. Step into the cell.
Why step into there? Why are you putting me in here?
But did you vote for Obama and Biden? I did, yeah. How do you feel about their deportations, being they actually deported more people than Donald Trump?
That's a good question because I really wasn't paying attention at that point. So I can't really say.
Why are you guys looking at me? Listen, we got all the audio, we got all the chat logs. I'm talking to Allie. We're gonna talk about it, all right? Oh my God, I'm just trying to have fun here.
23-year-old Christopher Carey, a transgender online sex predator from Hastings, Nebraska, believed he was communicating with a 12-year-old girl from Lincoln, Nebraska.
You were talking to her last night about, sex and... God, no. You just gotta know the pull-out game. You wanted to take Allie to a dark place and make out?
Go drive around, go somewhere and we could go somewhere in the dark or something to make out and stuff.
Chris, get the away from me.
Now we're going to place tons of pressure on Hastings PD, the detectives, and everyone involved to make sure Chris is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and justice is served.
Can someone tell me what MAGA men find attractive so that I can wear the complete opposite? Thanks.
You nailed it.
It's fresh because it just happened. But
my wife and I just went to the grocery store right by our house, just to buy like junk food and stuff, you know, because we were really tired. Just wanted some sweet treats. And we were walking down an aisle, and there were like two guys that walked up next to us. You know, Peyton like walked away, my wife walked away for just a second, and they were like snickering to themselves or something. And like I didn't really think much of it, so I'm just looking at the candy aisle trying to decide what candy I want. And he walks by and gets like inches from me and just rips one, like farts like this far from me. That's disgusting to say. I can't even believe I'm having to say this, but he did. And about that time, Peyton walked up, like didn't witness what happened, but like seconds later, and I'm like upset, and I follow after him. And I was like, is there a reason? You were just so disrespectful to me. Called you a man. Come here. And he, never felt so dehumanized.